till building a greener future, the power of digital solutions for sustainable development. We are thrilled to have you all here as we delve into the crucial intersection of environmental sustainability and technological innovations. Now I'd like to invite Inshira Amiruddin, our program director, for this webinar to share a brief remark.
Okay, can everyone hear me? Assalamualaikum. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on building a greener future, the power of digital solutions for sustainable development. My name is Marita. I'm the program director for this webinar. I'm here to representing University Technical Malaysia Melaka, specifically the Bachelor of Technopreneurship program for semester 6 students in the Seminar in Global Issues and New Business Trend course. The environment is a critical issue facing our planet. We are all aware of challenges like deforestation, climate change, and habitat degradation. These issues threaten our future and demand innovation solutions. The good news is that we are not powerless. Digital technologies are emerging as powerful tools for environmental protection and resource management. Today, we will explore on these possibilities with the help of Dr. Zaid Yap Sunli. Dr. Zaid has been a strong supporter of initiatives that leverage digital platforms to promote ecological awareness and sustainable practices among students and educators. Dr. Zaid is an expert speaker on sustainable development and digital solutions. His visionary approach and practical strategies for building a greener future make him a leading voice in this field. In today's webinar, we'll hear the presentations from Dr. Zaid, who will explore how digital solutions can address environmental challenges and build a more sustainable future. The format for today's webinar will include a presentation from Dr. Zaid, followed by a dedicated Q&A session. We are encouraged you to actively participate in the chat throughout the presentation. We'll also be having a group photo session at the very end, so please stay with us in the webinar until then. Thank you for joining us today. It's especially fitting that we are having this conversation on Earth Day for 2024. Let's get started on building a greener future together, and I hope today's discussion inspires you to take action in your own communities.
Okay. Okay, now without further ado, let's move forward with our program and introduce our esteemed speaker for today's webinar, Dr. Zaid Yap Sunli. Dr. Zaid, an Assistant Director of ICT in the learning sector within the Johor State Education Department, brings a wealth of experience and expertise in sustainable development and digital solutions. Let's extend a warm welcome to Dr. Zaid Yap Sunli by clicking the applause icon as our distinguished speaker for today's webinar.
All right. Assalamualaikum and very good morning to everyone. All right. First of all, I would love to express my deepest gratitude to University Technical Malaysia Melaka for extending this invitation to me, and of course to our Master of Ceremony for today, Idina, and of course the main persons that liaise with me. Okay, Miss Inshira and her team. Right. So it's a great pleasure of me to be here today. All right, to share some information with our viewers today. All right, and of course, to TS Dr. Meran Dolatabadi, right? The lecturers, okay? Sort of like the mentor for this whole program. Okay, very good morning to everyone. Please allow me to share my screen right now. Okay. Hang on, some technical issues here. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, Dr. Ajay.
Hello, hello.
Yes, Dr. Ajay. We can hear you.
All right. Can you see my screen right now?
Sorry, there's no share screen from you.
All right. I think okay. Here. The network at my place right now, I think probably because I stay near Taman University, a lot of people using internet right now during this hour, right? Okay. Let me share right now. Okay, can you guys see it right now? Is it clear?
Yes, it's very clear.
All right. Okay. All right, as for our topic for today is building a greener future. Okay, and the main thing is the power of digital solutions for sustainable development. So it's a pleasure of mine to be here today to share some information about how we're going to help to make the world a better place in terms of sustaining the environment. And then at the same time, because we have to move forward with the technologies, we cannot avoid and ignore technologies, the advancement of technologies. But how are we going to make these two elements work together and so that we will have a better future, right? So before we go further, it's important for us to understand the global goals of sustainable development goals. Which is adopted by the United Nations, okay? In short, we call it SDGs, yeah? SDGs. So overall, there are 17 goals. Now, these goals is established by the United Nations to make the world a better place so that we will be or have a better future by the end of 2030. That's the ambition. This is what United Nations aim for the whole world. Now, these goals cover a wide range of important issues, including ending poverty, hunger, ensuring good health and education for everyone, promoting gender equality, protecting the environment, and building strong, peaceful communities. So overall, the goal is not only for environment itself, but it's an interconnected issues for everything, okay, in terms of human to the environment, the whole ecosystem, so that we are hoping that we will have a better future. Okay. Now, SDG can be provided as a roadmap, all right, for the governments, businesses, civil society, and the individual itself to work together towards to making a more sustainable and equitable future for all. Now, basically, in short, I can say that SDG is to aim to create a world where everyone can live a healthy, happy, and sustainable life without leaving everyone behind. So that's the gist of the SDGs. As for our Johor State Education Department, we are adapting and adopting these few SDGs as you can see on the screen here. But however, when we execute a program, basically we are not excluding the other goals as well. Over here, I just want to highlight that these few goals will be the major goals that we want to achieve for sort of our key indicators for our program. Okay, now what digital technologies can do to help out in terms of achieving our SDG here. So basically today, due to the time constraints, we cannot share with everyone with a lot of things, informations. However, I just want to highlight these four main things here. The first one is the big data. The second is artificial intelligence. The third is digital platforms. And the fourth one is IoT, or in another, also known as Internet of Things. Now, what is big data? Okay, as we all know, big data is referring to a big size and complicated data. Okay, so this data is very large until the extent that it cannot be fully comprehended and being analyzed by human intelligence. It has to be analyzed by certain technologies and algorithms or software in order to understand or the information, the patterns. However, big data is something very important nowadays because it can revolutionize our environmental monitoring and conservation efforts. By how? By giving us some real-time information in order to do something which is impactful. Okay, I give two examples over here. The first one is the satellite imagery and sensor data. Okay, these two types of data are considered as big data because this abundant of data that you cannot just comprehend and analyze by just using human power. It has to be added by certain algorithms. However, this big data can help us to monitor the deforestation rates, the biodiversity hotspots, the carbon sequestration areas. Why? Because through the satellite, through the sensory data, we will be able to use this technology to help us to reach certain remote area and to understand and to know human activities in terms of the things that I mentioned just now. So from here, we are supporting the life on land, SDG 15, okay? So this is the first example. The second one is the oceanographic data and marine biodiversity. Same thing here. With this big data, it will be enabled to our researchers, the scientists, to identify areas of ecological significance and implemented targeted conservation measures. Because through the data, we'll be able to find out, okay, what's wrong with our marine ecological and what we gotta do. So from the data, we were able to analyze certain hotspots, certain areas in the oceans that we need to do something to conserve, to protect the sea life. So from here, we are supporting the SDG 14, of course. So these are two examples in terms of big data, all right? Now, of course, when we talk about big data, there's a lot of other big data as well, but due to the time constraint and due to the scope of our topic for today, I'll just giving these two examples. Now, the next one is the most popular things nowadays. We create AI, artificial intelligence. Now, of course, AI is not something new. Actually, if we get involved with computer science industry, it's something been developing all these years. Okay, it's just that now it's become something very popular. However, a lot of people still cannot fully utilize artificial intelligence because there's a lot of things we need to know about AI. And certain people still very skeptical with AI because they fear that computer or machine might or the intelligence of human beings and then they might control humans. But in fact, that is not true. It's just a myth, all right? Now, artificial intelligence, in other words, to make it simple, all right? Artificial intelligence is a computer system that can perform tasks, okay, that typically require human intelligence. However, when we try to do something like more advanced, like I mentioned just now, big data, it might beyond the human cognitive to really fully understand the thing. So therefore, we need certain things to help us, certain algorithms, certain software to help us to achieve more impactful analysis. So however, artificial intelligence, in other words, is a not real human intelligence. It's a machine intelligence. However, it can mimic, okay? It can copycat how human learn, how human do decision making, how humans do reasoning. So therefore, these AI systems mimic the human cognitive functions and that it can help us in terms of making some important decisions to promote sustainable practices across various sectors. So I'm giving two examples over here. The first one is AI algorithms that can be used to optimize energy distribution in smart grids, okay? Now, as we all know, okay, let's try to imagine this way, okay? Smart grid is like a giant puzzle that where each piece represent a different part of energy system, like power plants, substations, and homes. Now, AI algorithms can help us do this puzzling solving, like a super smart puzzle solvers that help us to organize and manage all these pieces efficiently. And therefore, it can help us to reduce the wastage of energy and lowering the carbon emissions. Because why? Because when we use energy, we release carbon. So when we use energy efficiently and we can reduce the wastage of energy, in other words, we are lowering the carbon emissions. And of course, we are enhancing integration of renewable energy resources. Why? Because AI can help us to use this energy like solar or wind power by predicting when it will be most effective by integrating it smoothly into the grid. Okay, so this is through the help of AI algorithms in terms of distributing the energy via the smart grids. All right, from by doing this, we are supporting SDG number 7, which is affordable and clean energy. So, and then the second example I would love to share with everyone here is the AI-driven predictive modeling, which can be used to improve air quality management. Now, this AI-driven modeling can be used to do this because through the AI, we try to imagine it as a superhero, all right, which can understand the air quality. It's a superhero that mimic the human power by understand the air quality by looking at lots of data, analyzing this big data, because with human power, it might be limited for us to do that. So by through analyzing the data, the AI will be know the AI able to analyze the pollution levels, the weather conditions, and the traffic patterns. So with this data, AI can predict the air pollution might get when it will get worse, like on hot or sunny days or during rush hour traffic. So, but then AI can help us to take certain actions, suggesting us like reducing traffic or alerting people to limit outdoor activities. So this can help us to keep the air clean and healthy. So by predicting pollution before it happens, now basically we can say that AI is helping us to take steps to prevent problems like health problems like asthma or environmental problems like smog, and keeps our air safe to breathe. So this is supporting our SDG 11. So basically these are two examples I would love to share here, which you utilizing the AI technologies in order to help us to sustain the environment and for us to address the environmental challenges. All right. The third one I would love to share here is the digital platforms. Okay. Now, digital platforms for social inclusion. I would say that this is something very, very important. Okay. Uh, Nowadays, we cannot or ignore digital platforms as what we're doing right now through the webinar, through the sharing. We are using digital platforms. Okay. Through socializing, we're using a lot of digital platforms. Through a lot of our day-to-day life transactions, we use a lot of digital platforms. So digital platforms play a crucial role in fostering, can help us to play important role in fostering environmental awareness, okay, and engaging the citizen and go and try to activate certain grassroots activism for a greener future. So over here, I would love to share with you guys two type of example how digital platforms can help us to support environmental sustainability. All right. The first one is online communities and social networking platforms. Of course, now over here, I'm not promoting any certain types of social platforms, but when I mention social platforms, I believe that the youngsters like you guys nowadays, you should know more, right? There's a lot of available platforms available. Now, these online communities is very important for us to help in order to tackle environmental challenges. Why? Think of an online communities. Okay, when we gather together through the online platforms, it's beyond country, it's beyond geological landscapes. We can access to the whole wide world through this online community. So when we have these big gatherings, when people can come together, we will be able to talk about important things such as how to live in a way that's good for environment. So we can share knowledge, we can share ideas, we can share resources. And in these online gatherings, people share their tips together, experience how to live sustainability and how to use less plastic, for example, or how to save energy in terms of all this. Okay, so basically members of these communities, we can help each other through the platform by giving advice to each other, by sharing useful resources or articles or videos about eco-friendly practices. So basically, we are learning together through these online communities. And by doing this, we are supporting SDG number 12, which is responsible consumption and production. Because when we all share this together, we learn together, we are being more responsible how to use our resources responsibly. All right. The second example I would like to share with you guys, crowdsourcing platforms. Now, crowdsourcing means that we try to create this online community where people can talk about, they can try to work together as a team, all right, to do something. So we call it crowdsourcing platforms. Now, this is something very important. Why I said it, think of crowdsourcing as a teamwork tool. Okay, we help each other together to make a difference for this environment. On these platforms, what we can do, for example, we can track animals, like counting how many birds they see, or reporting when they spot any kind of rare animals. Or through this platform as well, the crowd can help us to identify certain problems or certain issues that they can do reporting about the pollution incidents. So by doing this, the policymakers or their enforcers can take certain actions to help to tackle the challenges. So basically, we are supporting these two SDG here: climate action and life on island. And over here, I would love to highlight a few crowdsourcing platforms such as eBird, OpenStreetMap, Trash Out, iNaturalist, and Zooniverse. Okay, so I think the viewers, this is just an exposure, okay, for you guys to have a preview about what digital platforms can do in order to tackle environmental related issues. Now, in order to find more information, of course, you guys can Google about it. All right. So basically, these are the two things that I would like to share about digital platforms. All right. Now we move to the fourth one, IoT. Okay. So nowadays we live in internet. We cannot ignore or live without internet. I believe that every household nowadays, at least you must have a mobile hotspot or mobile data. You will have a unified, of course, if you're able to afford it. So this is something very, very affordable. However, now when we talk about IoT, it's not only internet. We are talking about how to make our devices, our sensors, our physical gadgets that we have being connected to internet and able to communicate with each other and then provide us some insightful information. So over here, I would love to give you guys two examples, these two scenarios here. The first one is IoT sensors. It will be installed in homes, offices, or industrial facilities. It can help us to monitor our energy consumption, right? Because these IoT sensors, they work like detectives, okay? They work like little detectives that we keep an eye how much energy that we use in places that I mentioned just now. They can track things like lights, okay, appliances or machines that we use, and to see how efficiently they're using in real time. So then they can help us automatically adjust the power usage. When the sensors notice too much of energy being used, it can send signals to smart devices to automatically adjust the power usage. Right? For example, here, if we install this IoT for our lights, okay, the smart lights, it can dim itself or turn out by itself when the rooms are empty, when no one there. Okay, for industry or players, if they install this IoT to their machines, the machines can also slow down by itself when the production is not so busy. So these are why we can use IoT sensors to help us to optimize their energy. All right. Now, the second thing, if we want to tackle for the natural, as I mentioned just now, sometimes with human powers, human capacity, it might too hard for us to really approach or to access those rural area or remote area. But with IoT sensors, we can just deploy them in the forest or natural reserve in order to help us to monitor the biodiversity, the soil moisture levels, the weather patterns, and because those sensors can help us to collect the data, and through the internet, it will send to a core system, a centralized system, then being analyzed by the AI algorithm, and then from there, through the data, through the information, we can able to detect the signs of deforestation or habitat degradation or any kind of weather changes, weather condition that is so drastic that indicate of climate change. Then we can do something and in order to rectify the problems. All right. So basically, these are two scenarios here why IoT can help us. All right, in order to tackle for the environment. And then the SDG is what you can see here. I already put it put it over here for you guys sharing. Now, of course, when we talk about SDG, we can have a lot of our SDG being included when we do certain things. However, over here, I just want to highlight the major one. All right. Okay. All right. Till this point of time, I think I already have shared with you guys the four major technologies, how to accelerate or how to help human beings help us to support sustainable development goals. All right. Now, next thing, there are some real example over here that I would love to share with the audience. There are 5 things here. Okay, these are all considered as sustainable tech success stories, right? Now, the first one is smart city. Is a project. It's the smart city is not a individual things. It's a very big mega project which is involve the country. Okay, so smart city basically what we can say that is that uh, smart city refers, all right, the whole city is being built up by using technology. Okay, so we are using technology to make the cities to work better for the people who live in the cities. So there are things here that we mentioned. There's a framework here we'd like to share with you guys. Smart city including smart environment, smart economy, smart living, smart mobility, smart people, smart government, and smart digital infrastructure. So overall, these is considered as a smart city. Now, in our country right now, in Malaysia, we have a few projects right now. Some's already, I would say that we don't have a very full developed and established project yet because in our country, we still in the phase of try to adapt and adopt this concept. Now, however, we have a few pilot projects here, including KL, JB, Kulim, KK, and Kuching here. So now what we try to do here is we try to incorporate technologies to make the whole cities work smart in order to sustain the environment. Why? Because imagine that in the city, including the traffic lights, the buildings, even the garbage cans, all right, that's the ideal thing. They can connect through internet, means that they can communicate and they can talk to each other in a way and share information. So by using this IoT and the technologies that I mentioned just now, the whole city is worked in a very smart way that it can give people the better life, okay, not forsaking the comfort of life, but at the same time, it can help to sustain the environment. For example, we need a cozy place. We need a nice place to stay. We might use air conditions a lot of time, but when we use AC, we might consume a lot of energy. But in the smart city, there are certain kind of system that can help us to minimize the resources, the energy resources, but at the same time, it doesn't forsake the comfort of living. So that's the ideal things about smart city, all right? Then in order to achieve the dream of smart city, we have to use technology, all right? Now over here, I can share, guys, this is Gamuda Cove, Malaysia. It's a new township in South Klang Valley. So this is a project of smart city. Or due to time constraint, I cannot share with you guys a lot of information, but you guys can find more information through online, okay, by yourself. And the second project that I can share with you guys is the Country Garden Forest City in JB. So these are the example of smart cities, which I can say that it's not fully developed yet, but we are on the track. Okay, we are on the track. All right. The next story that I would love to share with you guys is this TLFP, the Lost Food Project. I personally think that this project is a success story for digital platforms because this NGO in Malaysia, they managed to use the digital platforms, okay, to help us to reduce food waste and alleviate hunger by making sure that the surplus food can be distributed to people in need. All right. They use technology such as mobile apps, okay, and online platforms to coordinate the food collection, the logistics, all right, and as well as the distribution to make sure that the surplus food reaches those in need while reducing environmental impact. So I would say that this project can help to support this SDG number 1, number 2, number 12, 13, and 17. So food is something very important. Okay, when we think about food, we don't waste food. Why? Because in order to produce the food on our table, we need a lot of agricultural activities. We have in order to process the food, throughout all this process, we are releasing a lot of carbon. All right, so therefore, if we waste the food, is similar like we are wasting the energy and we are releasing more carbon dioxide to our atmosphere. So it's important for us to save food, to save the food, to not to waste the food, because by doing that, we are helping to optimize our resource management, and we are helping to lower down the carbon emissions. So I would say that the TLFP project is considered as one successful example by using digital platforms to support environmental activities. All right. Now, next one, this one, the green tech. All right. So green tech basically, okay, is a Malaysian green technology and climate change corporation. In short, we call it MGTC. So it was formerly known as Green Tech or Malaysian Green Technology Corporations. Now, I would love to highlight this corporation here is because MGTC has done is under the ministry as well, but not under the Ministry of Education. But this ministry is to make sure that the people, the society, the whole country is able to produce or produce product or service which is friendly to the environment, okay, which able to comply with the green technology standards. So basically, in short, they try to raise awareness about sustainable practices among businesses and communities in order to sustain the environment. It aims to promote about how to use green technology efficiently. So you guys can Google the website in order to find out more about this Malaysia My Hijau mark. So for the products or services that entitle for My Hijau means that this particular product or service, they are compliant with the green technology standards, means that it's giving this or it support and sustain the environment. So for example, or certain products, they are using recyclable materials, or maybe through the manufacturing process, they are using solar energy, which is the clean energy. Take for instance for these kind of things, then MGTC will give them My Hijau mark. Of course, before giving them the marks, they have to study the whole process in order to make sure that they really comply with the standards. So I would say that MGTC is a success story in terms of supporting green tech. And over here, as you can see on the screen, there are multiple SDGs that have been supported by this company. All right, now, next one, Turbonomic. Okay, we call it Sustainable IT, is developed by IBM company. So here, this is something very IT related. Okay, as we know nowadays, a lot of big corporates, okay, a lot of organizations, we are using ICT, okay, we are using information technology. So in order to make, even for our Ministry of Education right now, we are promoting digitalizations from the infrastructure all the way to the teaching and learning process in the classroom itself. So technology is something that we cannot avoid anymore. However, when we use information technology, when we use gadgets, or when we use any of these ICT related devices, sensors, everything, we are consuming energy. For example, right now, when we do webinar, I need to turn on my monitor. I need to use my microphone. I need to use my camera. I need to use my IT gadgets. I need to use my internet. All these things consuming energy. However, this is just individual. When we talk about big corporates, we are talking about hundreds of servers, hundreds of this client server thingy, the computer system, thousands for big corporate international corporations. So when we are using all these things, we are consuming a lot of energy. So this Turbonomic is a kind of platforms. It's an online, it's a software, is AI powered. It can help the IT department to analyze, okay, and manage the energy resources, and they can help to tackle how to do this cloud management, this storage management, okay, in order to preserve energy, in order to utilize resources more efficiently. By doing that, we are lowering down their energy consumptions. When we lower down the energy consumption, we are lowering down their carbon dioxide emissions. So basically, this is a quite, I would say that personally, I would say that this is quite a good, I'm not promoting any kind of product here, but I'm trying to say that this is kind of good product in order to sustain the ICT ecosystem, okay, in big corporations or big organizations. All right. So this is one of the things that I will share with you guys. So basically, I have shared all these 5 success stories, which are using technologies, digital related technologies to sustain the environment. Now, next thing I would love to share with you guys is about best practices, and I would love to recommend you guys how to uh, integrate digital in order to support sustainability. So basically, there are 3 things here. The first is collaborative partnerships. The second is holistic integration, and the third one is ethical considerations. All right. Now, let's have a look at the first one. What do what do I mean by collaborative partnerships? All right. Now, when we talk about collaborative partnerships, all right, means that the collaborations, the cooperation is between different types of entities. Okay. So, for example, to like me myself, I'm represent the government because I'm from the Ministry of Education. And then when we want to do some sustainable project, we will collaborate with EDA, okay, Iskandar Regional Development Authority, and then we will collaborate with SWM Corp, okay, which is they are the corporations that do waste management, and then we also cooperate with some our third-party private sectors like plastic organization company like Henghyup, and then at the same time we will also cooperate with UTM as well, and then we cooperate with schools, and we cooperate with some other industrial players, okay, in order to make a plan which is more holistic in a way that it can tackle the environmental issues more effectively. So we cannot, when we want to incorporate technology or we want to try to use technology, I would say that all entities that I mentioned here, the government, the private, and the civil society, they all have their own expertise and resources. So we cannot just work solo. We cannot work by ourselves. It's important for us to work together collaboratively in order to have a better achievements. Okay, maybe for example, we want to do project in school right now. We want to promote e-waste management. So in school for the government, we have our syllabus, we have our curriculum. So what we can do is we try to incorporate the concept into uh, our curriculum so that the school able to execute the lessons and to create awareness and to nurture the kids and to educate our students. And at the same time, we need private sectors. For example, some organizations like JCI or some waste management company, which they are expert in terms of e-wasting management. So they have their own knowledge. And then we also incorporate with the higher institution to get those experts to share the expertise, how to do this kind of e-waste management in terms of implementing the digital solutions. So this is what I'm saying. So when we do certain things, we don't do it by ourselves, but we try to get collaboration from different entities. All right. So this will be the first practice that I think we should do it in order to get a more impactful and more successful projects. Okay, for the whole society. All right. The next thing I would call it holistic integration. Now, this is a bit different from collaboration just now, because collaboration, we're talking about different agencies working together. But when we talk about holistic here, we're talking the dimensions of the whole society, the whole society. So when we try to do some strategies, okay, which incorporate digital technologies, we have to think about uh, the social part, the economic part, and the whole environmental part. For example, let's say a city, okay, a city, they try to do this kind of like uh, green technologies, okay, in order to reduce the carbon footprint, for example. Now, I'll give you guys example here. Um, let's say a city, they want to use green technology. They cannot just focus on one part like saving energy, because they have to think about other things. For example, for social dimensions, they have to think about what kind of different transportation options that affect people's life at that neighborhood. Okay, for example, they may talk to the residents, okay, to understand their needs and preferences for getting around the city. For example, in Singapore and in Johor Bahru, okay, in terms of transportation. In Singapore, taking public transportation is something very common. Okay, is considered as a something, is a day-to-day activities. Okay, life activities. However, in JB, the residents people, the people over here, they prefer. Okay, they prefer to use the individual transportation. They use their own cars. Okay, so public transportation would not be the major choice of the people living in JB area due to a lot of factors, right? So if we want to support, if we want to bring in public transportation, we have to understand the people here first. This is what I'm saying. By understand the social dimensions part, we have to understand what the social need first. And then when we talk about economy, we have to look at the costs and benefits of different solutions. For example, just now we talk about we want to use digital technology to reduce carbon footprint in a city by making transportation more eco-friendly, right? They have the city developer, they have to analyze the upfront cost, and then the healthcare cost, and then the building. For example, if let's say we want to bring in the public transportations, we need to think about the cost of building the lands, the transportation lands, or we want to encourage people to use the bikes. We have to think of building the bike lanes. Uh, those costs that incorporate and this technology that we want to bring in, what the cost that we need to spend, and in long terms, will it give more benefits or what? Okay, to the whole economic perspective. And then for the environmental part, of course, uh, this is quite easy. As long as the thing is supporting environment, we give our full support. However, we cannot forsake the other two dimensions. For example, in order to have eco-friendly transportation, of course, we do carpooling, we use public transportation. If possible, we use bike. But is it something practical for the society at that particular place? For example, in JB, is it possible for us to use a bicycle, or okay, to travel from our home to our workstation? It might not be something quite possible, right? So this is something that even though it might support environment, we have to support it, but at the same time, we have to think about other dimensions as well. So here, I would love to always share here, when you guys try to have some or innovation in terms of digital, it's always important to think about these three dimensions, okay? So that you can come up with something not only solving one part of dimension, but you are trying to make it. Of course, we are not perfect. We cannot come up with a perfect plan, but we try to find a balance that in order to bring benefits for these three dimensions. All right, this is what we talk about for holistic integration. And the third one is ethical considerations. Now, it's easy for us to talk about sharing big data. It's always easy for us to talk about the technology and everything, because when we talk about information technology, we talk about data. When we talk about data, we have to talk about the security of the data. Even though we are trying to push sharing of information, however, we must prioritize data privacy, security, and ethical. All right, when we want to share all this big data, because sometimes, for example, satellite imagery can expose a country security, because nowadays the world is a bit complicated in terms of these conflicts between countries, right? So when we share informations, when we exposing our own country's territory, our geological data, sometimes it might expose or it might create this kind of a leak, okay, for information for the safety of our country. And therefore, over here, I would say that ethical is something that we cannot forsake, all right? So how are we going to make sure that while sharing data, while sharing this big information, we still need to keep people information safe, and we still have to be responsible with the technology, and we have to build trust when we use technology. So I think that this is something also quite important for us to consider when we try to integrate technology into our sustainable strategy. All right. So this is the part for ethical considerations. Right. I would say that these are three things. Of course, there's a lot of different other things that we have to consider or based that I would love to recommend, but due to time constraint, I would say that these are three major things that we have to consider when we try to incorporate this digital into sustainable strategies. All right, because we're talking about big pictures here. All right. Last but not least, over here. All right. Because today our audience are mostly technopreneurs, okay? We want to do some innovation. We want to be entrepreneurs for technology. So basically, from our Malaysian context, okay, these are the three things that I think is a potential project that we can consider. The first one is renewable energy microgrids, okay? The second one is the green spaces monitoring. And the third one is circular economy platforms. So let's have a look at one by one. All right. Now, in terms of renewable energy microgrids, okay, why I think is something important for us, okay, because in Malaysia, we have a lot of these renewable resources. We have solar, we have wind, we have biomass resources. But how to make this energy or being used more effectively, we are still lacking of in terms of something, which is the energy microgrids. So the Technopreneur solution here, maybe you guys can come up with some new ideas how to develop renewable energy microgrids that can integrate these smart grids can integrate renewable sources, the storage, and how to distribute efficiently so that we are not only depending on the fossil fuel. All right. So by doing this, I can see that it can help us to address our Malaysia's dispersed population and government targets in terms of creating renewables energy and reduce carbon dioxide emissions. All right. So this is something that you guys can work on it. Of course, to come up with these technologies, you need a lot of different expertise in order to build this thing. All right. The next thing, the second thing I would see that because nowadays in Malaysia, we are developing, okay? The government is trying to urbanize a lot of our big city, okay? So urbanization is a challenge in our country right now. Because why? When we urbanize a place, we build more cities, okay? When we build more cities, we do a lot of deforestations, okay? So in other words, we have to sacrifice the environments. So, but how are we going to sustain? That is the thing. We have these green spaces. Green spaces means that we bring the oasis, we bring the nature into our city. It means that we have a city, but at the same time, we have certain places that that we can still conserve this natural flora and fauna. So it's very important for biodiversity. And by creating these green spaces, actually, it can help to mitigate, to reduce urban heat. Because why? Because when we have big city, big tall landscape, we use a lot of energies, and we are releasing more carbon dioxide, and this will have this greenhouse effect. So therefore, we realize that when you stay in the town as compared to you stay in a rural place, you realize that, hey, why in the countryside we can feel the atmosphere or the weather is cooler, but in the city it's always very hot because this urban heat. So green space is something very important. So what Technopreneur can do is probably you guys can develop something like digital mapping tools, okay, by using this satellite imagery and GIS technology, in order when we have these mapping tools, they can help those policymakers, these city planners, when they want to build up a new city or when they try to urbanize certain places, they can use this information to have a proper planning in order to create a city which is at the same time can support the environment. So I would say that this urban green spaces mapping and monitoring is can be a trend in for by considering our Malaysian context, right? Now the next thing is the third is digital circular economy platforms. All right, what do you call circular platform means that um, first I have to talk about the economic principles. All right. So when we talk about economic principles, we are talking about how people sustain, industrial players sustain. For example, we're talking about recyclable resources. Nowadays, there's a lot of companies that collect and produce recyclable items, for example, plastics. However, they are all in Malaysia right now. Waste is a big challenges, and all these industrial player, including those are recyclable industrial players, they have on platforms. They don't have a core system that they can really work together to understand each other, to know what each other needs to support each other. So therefore, I would propose that if possible, we try to develop a digital platforms where all these stakeholders from different industry, whether they are the waste producer or they are the waste recycling holder, or they are the people who use these recyclable items. For example, plastics, right? We might create a lot of plastic bottles or plastic related items. There are certain entities that will be producing all this plastic into reusable raw materials. But these raw materials will not go to the end user because we don't need it. We don't know how to use all these things. But there are certain industrial players, they need those plastic raw materials in order to produce packaging or in order to make new products. So this is what I'm saying. These all entities, we need a platform that we can be together to share our resources so that we will be able to sustain the waste. So I think right now, our Malaysians, even though we have a lot of different entities doing their best to sustain the environment, yet we still lack of these digital circular economy platforms that we can really connect to each other and really to work together so that we are not wasting any kind of things. All right. So basically, this is the third thing that I feel like we can try to work on it. So over here, I think I'm running out of time. All right, so I just want to share with you guys a little bit about what we do in school right now. So in school, we have these 4 types of ICT components. We try to promote this ICT, these digital skills for our kids: computer literacy, internet, computational thinking, and values and ethics of ICT. So while we are fostering these things, we are using digital technology, but at the same time, we try to support the environment by how? For example, through the computer literacy, we are supporting this SDG 4, 5, 9, and 13. I think with the slide over here, I think later on, the organizer, I think Miss Inshira will share the slide with the audience. So I'm not going to read it out, okay? I just want to make it simple. With the digital, by incorporating this computer literacy, we are engaging and supporting for quality education in terms of SDG 4. With the proficiency of these ICT tools, we can know more, okay, how to sustain the environment, enhance the employability, things like that. So we are supporting all this gender equality, industry innovation, infrastructure, and of course, we can do certain things for climate action, because just now we talk about a lot of these big technologies, how these big technologies support environment, but we need manpower. So therefore, we need to nurture the ICT skills from young. All right. Okay, next one, internet, of course, IoT, all this internet thing. We have to, from young, we need to teach the kids how to fully utilize internet. Okay, and then from those skills, we teach them how to support environment. And the third thing, computational thinking. Okay, so computational thinking is very important because it's our nurture problem solving skill. All right, so all these things, it can support these three SDG. And last but not least, okay, the values and ethics. I think this one I don't have to mention more because I already mentioned just now the importance of ethical considerations. All right, now basically right now we are pushing more in terms of green technology. In school, we try to educate the teachers and the kids to do digitalization, power management, to use energy efficient algorithms, apps, okay, and e-waste management, of course, cloud computing. So this is what we call CLESR and TMK, or in English, we call ICT sustainability. The SDG I already mentioned here in the slide. You guys can have a look. And of course, we have this. This is our program. We call Pendidikan Holistic 2.0 Kelestarian. Okay, in English is our holistic education for sustainability. And then my mentor, okay, Dr. Muhammad Muni, he's the mentor, the PIC for the main project, and I'm the assistant, okay, his mentee. And of course, this program is fully supported by our director, the Haji Muhammad Hanafi. So basically, that's I want to share with everyone. Okay, remember that being green and clean is not just an aspiration, but an action. And once again, I would love to apologize due to time constraint. I have to explain things in very fast pass in a very fast mode. So probably if you're unable to catch it up, you can refer back to my slides and do some more information searching afterwards. All right, that's all. And for me, okay, for today, all right, I would love to apologize, okay, if I'm speaking too fast. All right, okay. That's all from me. Back to the master of ceremony, or Miss Idina. All right, thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zaid, for your enlightening presentation. Now we will open the floor to questions from our audience. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to type them into the chat, or you may also ask questions through your microphone.
Hi, I have a question.
All right.
As entrepreneur, we always looking for new opportunity to solve problem and create a positive impact. In
Mm.
your view, what are some of the most pressing environmental challenges that present opportunity for innovative digital solution?
All right. Okay, I think I have shared with thank you, Aina, right? New Aina for the questions. When we
Yes.
when we talk about entrepreneurs, of course we have something that very close to us and something far. So I think for your context, let's talk about something near first. We don't talk about international first, right? So we talk about our local, our own country first. So as I presented just now, for Malaysian context, I think there are these three major things. The first thing is the microgrids for our energy distributions. Nowadays, even though we have a lot of resources, we have this clean energy available, yet we still depend a lot of on fossil fuel, and we don't have a very good system how to distribute the energy effectively to all the individual households, to all the industry facilities. So probably we need some expertise in terms of building some technologies there, uh, by incorporating AI algorithms. So I would see that this might be a good opportunities for the technopreneurs to invest in, based on our Malaysian context. All right. And of course, the other two things just now, which I shared. All right. We need a platforms that can bring everyone together for to support the waste management. Okay. And at the same time, can support the sustainability of the economy by using the waste management. All right. Is it okay? Of course, this is just suggestions, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
Mm.
you.
May so for technopreneurs, you guys are fully using technologies, right? Regardless of any kind of technology. Am I right? Miss Indina or Miss Inshira, right? Yeah. Okay. All right.
I want to ask, my name is Nur Yasmin. So, what us as a student can do for help our environment? Because there not many things we don't have power. So, what we can do to help our environment?
Oh, all right. Good question, Yasmin. Okay. Sometimes as students, you guys feel like, oh, I'm not financial independence. I still depends on my family and I have limited financial power to buy things or to create things. I have limited knowledge, right? Sometimes as students, I gone through that. Don't worry. So sometimes we feel we are so small, all right, when we are young. Okay. But actually that's not the fact. Because why? Because nowadays with digital platforms, social media, so I would say that I would strongly suggest for young people like you guys, uh, you guys can try to create some innovation by using available technologies. For example, the social platforms, the digital platforms that are available right now. What can you do in order to support sustainability? For example, in school, youngster nowadays, right? Kids, they will always like, they might, for example, they like to play TikTok. All right. So we support them to create TikTok video that talk about environment. Why is important? Because when you raise awareness about, for example, we talk about uh, different types of plastic or how plastic can be, what kind of day-to-day activities that we can do in order to tackle plastic. If we just give a talk like this, maybe people don't want to listen, right? But if you can create a very creative and very engaging TikTok video, people love to watch TikTok video because it's short and it's funny. So if you can use that kind of creativity to create a content that engage with your audience, for me, that is also kind of innovation in terms of technology. Because with the olden time, without TikTok, without those digital platforms, we cannot do that. We cannot engage with our audience. But with nowadays technology, we can do that, right? So basically, maybe that you guys can try to do first, right? So we don't talk about AI algorithms or this big data software first, but we talk something that we can utilize first. So I think that using available technologies to create something creative, okay, be a creative content creator with the support of technologies and engage with more big communities to create awareness about sustainability or about environment. Maybe that's the thing that you guys can try to do. All right. Okay, is it okay? Is the line still work?
Is there any other question? Uh, I think that's all. Uh, Before we conclude our webinar, we want to turn on your cameras if possible. Generate our by please turn on your camera.
All right, everyone ready for our camera? Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Once again, 1, 2, 3, smile. All right, thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
As, as we come to the end of our webinar, and to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Zaid Yapsuni for his info presentation and to all of our participants. Your contributions have made today's session truly impactful. And I also want to extend a special thank you to our organizing team for putting together this event. Remember, the conversation doesn't have to end here. Let's continue to explore innovative solution for a greener future and work together to make a positive difference in our world. Thank you. Thank you all once again. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. All right.
Thanks very much, Dr. Zaid.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr.
Assalamualaikum. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr.
Hello, sir. Good morning. Sir, I want to ask about seminar topic.